Namaste and hello, everybody. Happy to be with you all once again in the very special 25th episode of Expressions Espresso on season 3, episode 5. We often read the maxim, believe in the universe. I do that. I get quiet and listen to it, and I believe that it can direct you onto the right path. That is exactly what I did in this case. Right from the time I began this show of Expressions Espresso, I had been dreaming of this day. I swished this wish to the universe with great hope and faith, and waited patiently. 24 weeks later, here we are with magic. We know him as a man of few words, and that his music speaks for him. We also know that it is his music that makes us speak a lot about him. Speaking anything about him in terms of an introduction would be an understatement. Is it really necessary? The world knows him, and the world echoes his music into the remotest parts of the globe. This proud son of India, the Isai Puyal, the winner of the double Oscars, the Grammy, the BMI, and a host of other awards, I believe, has risen above all of them, and today just makes music to converse with the universe, which in turn infuses his music into all our hearts. When someone has reached such great heights and continues to be untouched by the fame and glamour, then he definitely must be someone who believes in the superpower that rules each one of us. The A and R in AR Rahman can only mean altruistic and refined. Did he not say, Ella Pugarum Iraivanukke, when he received the Oscars? A visionary who founded the KM Music Conservatory. This institution has trained so many students and built in a strong legacy of his music, with his very own children being chips of the old block. Without further ado, and to take you quickly to this prodigy and musical genius, I invite the one and only AR Rahman ji, just for you. Welcome, and thank you so much for consenting to be on this show and spending your valuable time with us. We all love your music, we love you, and we're honored and privileged to have you in our midst, AR.
Likewise.
There's so much to ask you that I think we should straight target at the questions. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, perfect. Solunga.
First of all, I think our mothers mean very much to us. My mother started my musical journey for me. So I think your mother too has played a very important role in your upbringing, your music, your profession, and your success. So just tell us something about Amma.
So Amma is a superstar for me because I've seen her struggle. I've seen her take amazing decisions, which I would anybody would think twice before taking. So every decision she took was bold, with spiritual guidance in her mind. She's got this sixth sense. And now, of course, she has been bedridden for 6-7 years. And our only outing is to the ICU in Apollo every year. But knowing how she brought us all up, 3 girls and me, the only son, I still feel that certain things which she taught us helps me in taking bigger decisions. Like she said, don't have a partnership. And when I started the studio, there was another gentleman who said, I'll put the equipments. You have a studio. I didn't have money to buy the equipment. She said,
Right.
don't partner with anyone. Even if you don't have anything and you sit alone without any work, it's fine. I don't know why she said that, but that was a great decision, I thought. And then another thing she said is, if you have 2 rupees, spend 1. Don't spend 4.
Right.
But then you realize that when something goes wrong, then you'll be able to take that. But if you think that tomorrow will be good, and you take chances, and then when everything falls flat, you're ruined.
Right.
So things like that, I think, which has saved me from big disasters. And so I can sleep in peace. That. And then, of course, she was never strict as you should do this, you should not do that. It was us as a family, my sisters and me, we knew the family situation, so we behaved ourselves. That's it.
Good that you behaved yourself. What was your state of mind when you actually set out on your profession? I think around the age of 12. Was it a more must-do, or was it your own choice?
It was not my own choice. But as a kid, I think it was fun to be among professionals rather than playing with other kids on the playground. I was never, if people are playing out, I'll just drink water and watch them. So I was that kind of a kid, even at school. So the only thing I was fearing is that social acceptance, that at that point of time. Then I stopped caring about it. Because I'm not studying higher studies or so being in the studio, the stigma of being in the film industry or as a musician, all that stuff. And little did I know that everything's going to change, the world will change. And the world is now much more broader and accepting things. And in a way, creative industry is leading everything in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And people are obsessed by being, to come into the creative industry, whether a director or a composer or a singer or artist, and things have changed.
Of course.
And artificial intelligence is coming. It's going to take a lot of jobs off, and creative industry is in a way stable because we humans always come up to a level where we can outbeat computers, hopefully, at least in art and in creativity and things like that.
What's the one thing that you learned being in the music industry as a child and that you still hold on to?
That it's a beautiful industry, but there are a lot of liberties which people take. For instance, vices. For instance, that, and in every industry, I think there is good and bad. It's not that music industry or film industry is like that.
You're right, yeah.
But I felt like, there is an inner conscience for all of us. Either when you clean up, idu nalla varum. If you take trouble and then if you meditate and do something, it'll come out well.
Correct.
So things like that you learn when you knock at a door. We should get a response, right? The response for me is through music. Whether it's a spiritual response or whether it's about success or anything. And that's one thing I learned. Like if we maintain the integrity, we do stuff, we will get success. And then we will reach higher level of satisfaction within ourselves. And then trying to keep your word, which is the most difficult thing. Trying to be honest Again, very difficult. And so these are the things that nobody's going to police you. Nobody's going to tell your conscience, do this, do that.
Yes.
We have to be a master of our own selves. I said, this is the right thing to do. Right from, using software. There is pirated software on the internet. It's free. Everybody uses it. You can't say that everybody uses it. But when you're earning money, you should respect the people who made that software.
So beautiful.
Right? That's free. We can't do that. And so things like that, which nobody's going to teach you. And nobody's going to come and police you. We have to use our inner conscience to decide all the stuff. Adhe mari giving credits to people, these are the small things. I think you should know better. What did you learn about music?
Yes, but I think I followed much of what you have said, especially the part of, living up to my word, doing the right things that I feel are right. என் கான்ஷியஸுக்கு என் மனசுக்கு சரியா இருக்குன்னு தோணித்துன்னு அது உலகமே இல்லைன்னு சொன்னா கூட நான் பண்ணிடுவேன்.
Very good.
That faith in myself, the faith in my family who support me in my decisions, I think it makes a difference, definitely. So when the trend was to set the music and finally have the singer do the singing part, I think you changed the status quo. You often experimented with recording the singer first and then, doing the embellishment for the song. So how did you arrive at this different thought process?
The olden days where, I've said this many times, like they had only single track or double track. So every musician had to play it together. And if you had to be super good, if you just miss on something, they won't call you again. If you stutter or something as a singer, they won't call you again. If your pronunciation is bad, they won't call you again. If you're out of tune, they're not going to call you again. If you don't have a good voice, they won't call you again. So the standard was set. So very few people could manage all that. Whether it's T.M. Soundarajan or Sirigadi Govindarajan Ji or S.P. Balasubramaniam or, T.M. and then Malaysia Vasudevan and Chitra. They're all like superstars. They can do 4 songs in an hour. They can write the swaram, learn it, and their diction is amazing. So they were doing this stuff, and home studio idea came. When I went to, I had a friend called Sarangan, and he was doing a documentary with someone in Bangalore. And Bangalore, there was a white gentleman married to a Bangalore lady, and he had a home studio. I said, oh my God, this is my future. So I should have something like that in the outdoors. And then, so I had as a music room which I had, when we moved from the old house to the new house, I said, okay, we have to set up the studio. And that was Panchatan, And then when that happened, this people watching, people judging you in a big environment, like a studio like AVM Studio. AVM Studio had AVM C, AVM, RR, AVM E, and every language would happen in one studio. And so if something goes wrong, all will gang up and watch. What happened? Music director shouted at the singer. This musician got shouted. So this gossip was, intolerable. But when I started, nobody knew what went wrong. How many tunes got rejected, how many tunes got this thing, or who's singing, and how many times they sang, how many times they came to the studio to sing and get it right. Didn't matter. So when this didn't matter, so there was no also expenditure for the producer. Like he doesn't have to call 70 people to check what the song is. So we would do that later. We will do the basic skeleton would be done with just few people. So if the lyric is not good, we'll do it again. If the tune is not good, we'll do it again. And so this trial process to invent something new, there was a kind of research, and there was a kind of interesting development or new process in creating music happened. So idanala neenga sonna mari, when Nityasri sang Kannodu Kanvadalam, like we were improvising for almost, actually Saukyama பண்ணும்போது it was almost 15 minutes of, so I had a mic and I would play chords,
right,
and she'll be singing, and then I'll say, can you do this? And then she will go there and I'll say, can you go to the Chinnadi? Can you go to the, in the Murray, we will have fun. And that process, I think, is one of the for me, I was so lucky to have that process in my, and everybody was free. There was nobody sitting and judging whether they're singing and nothing. So it was between the artist, me, and the director. Sometimes even the director won't be there. Like, we'll do a scratch and send it to, அப்போ இன்டர்நெட் இல்லை. ஸோ there was a mini disc. அதில் ரெக்கார்ட் பண்ணிட்டு மினி டிஸ்க் பிளேயரோட அனுப்பிச்சிருவோம். ஸோ அதை கேட்டு
நீங்க வந்து இதை சொன்னதுனால இப்ப வந்து I remember something that I never gave you the musical bouquet that I'm supposed to give you as soon as you enter the studio. Okay. Can I take 2 minutes?
Yes, absolutely.
It's a mand mala that I'm going to give you.
Wow.
என்னென்னமோ சொல்லி என்னென்னமோ சொல்லி என்னை மயக்கி விட்டு என்னென்னமோ சொல்லி என்னை மயக்கி விட்டு என்னென்னமோ சொல்லி என்னை மயக்கி விட்டு அன்னம் பாலும் வெறுக்க அலைய வைத்தாரடி வாரே பாண்டுரங்கா केवा बेट देशी बारे पांडुरंगा केवा बेट देशी नारायण 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 ओडी வருகையிலே கண்ணம்மா குளிருதடி ஓடி வருகையிலே கண்ணம்மா சௌக்கியமா கண்ணே சௌக்கியமா சௌக்கியமா கண்ணே சௌக்கியமா சௌக்கியமா.
Wow. மாண்ட் மாதிரி ஒரு ராகமே இல்ல இல்ல
நிஜமாவே என்ன வேணாலும் பண்ணலாம். அது எல்லாத்தையும் தாங்கிக்குவது.
ட்ரக் இருக்கு உள்ள.
நீங்க தான் பாடுங்களே மாண்ட்ல.
நான் அவுட் ஆஃப் ஷேப்ல இருக்கேன். நான் வந்து
I was just going to tell you, you seem like you've lost some weight.
Me it. Yeah, thanks, thank you.
Okay, you pioneered a new futuristic sound in mainstream film music, which combined diverse influences with cutting-edge sonic technology. As much as you've been fascinated by technology, AR, you've also expressed that you and your sound team never believe in over-processing the voice or using the auto-tune. How would you, in your own words, define an optimum usage of technology in music?
So like I told you before, there are certain superstars and singers who can do it all. But I would, so when I came into the scene, I was hearing certain voices and I said, this voice is great. What if they sing it? You don't have the challenge of singing in front of people yet. And so sometimes you, for instance, Bharat Raja, he sang a song. And his voice is so peculiar, right? Kaadu Pottakaadu.
Right.
So he said, I can't sing. I said, please sing. You can. So when he sang, we have to tune a little bit of his sur. So that, when people hear it, they get that raw voice and they were able to enjoy what he could do. Sometimes it's nice to be out of tune because in folk singing, it doesn't have to be all pakka,
Yes.
And when it's too clear now, we don't know whether it's a sampler or whether it's real. So sometimes it's nice to have the breath. Sometimes it's nice to have the little bit of lip sound. And it depends on the song. Sometimes we keep it, sometimes we don't keep it. And because I don't do one kind of music. In film musicல வந்து எல்லா மாதிரியும் பண்ணோம் இல்லையா, அதனால எது கரெக்ட்னு படுதோ அதை யூஸ் பண்ணுவோம். அதான் அது ஒரு இது. அப்புறம் இப்போ ஒரு சிங்கர் வந்து அமெரிக்காவில் இருக்காங்க, இல்லை சிங்கப்பூரில் இருக்காங்க, இல்லை ஆஃப்ரிக்காவில் இருக்காங்க. நான் முதல்ல வந்து நம்ம ஒரு ஆளை கூப்பிட்டு போயிட்டு டேப் எடுத்துகிட்டு போய் ஸ்டுடியோவில் வச்சு ரெக்கார்ட் பண்ணோம். இன்டர்நெட் வந்ததுலேருந்து யூ கேன் ரெக்கார்ட், சென்ட் இட் த்ரூ இமெயில் ஆர் Dropbox or anything. That is a huge development. And இப்போ பார்த்தீங்கன்னா the last 3 months the kind of collaborations people have been doing with video and with Zoom and Skype and everything is incredible. I mean, they made the life interesting. And there were great collaborations I've been seeing, whether it's abroad or India, within states and across countries, and even in flats. Might be in one flat. Because when you can't go out, when you're embargoed, excuse me. Sorry. Wow. Sorry.
நீங்க பாட மாட்டேன், நீங்க ஃபோன் பாடிச்சு.
நான் பாட மாட்டேன்னு சொல்ல, நான் ஷேப்ல இல்ல.
சும்மா that was just
yeah, I just thought I'll practice, but I had something and before.
தெரியும் நீங்க சொல்றது. எனக்கே ஒரு நாள் பாடல் என்ன கூட அடுத்த நாள் வந்து சுர்ல இருக்கோமா, am I hearing the right sa, am I on the pa, எல்லா சந்தேகமும் வரும்.
Because I'm in a position where I tell people, oh, it's out of tune, can you do it again? All my life. And when I sing out of tune, they will laugh at me. I can see them all laughing at me. So
இப்ப நீங்களே தானே சொன்னீங்க out of tune சில வேளை இருக்குறதுக்கு வந்து அந்த இமோஷனல் கண்டென்ட் கொண்டு வருது.
அது கரெக்ட்.
Okay. Yeah. We were talking about
the technology.
Yeah.
So that is one. அதுக்கப்புறம் இப்போ even harmonies இல்லையா, இப்போ ஒரு ஹார்மனி புதுசா பண்ணோம்னா, இப்போ லாஜிக் ஒரு மெலடைன் இருக்கும்போது ஒரு மெலடி போடலாம், அதுக்கப்புறம் அதுக்கு கீழே வந்து நம்ம எந்த மாதிரி ஹார்மனி பண்ணால் நல்லாயிருக்கும். ஸோ அகெயின் டு டிசைன் வித்வுட் மேக்கிங் தம் சிங், இதை டிசைன் பண்ணிட்டு அதுக்கப்புறம் தென் வி கேன் ஷோ தம், தென் தி கேன் சிங் இட் அகெயின். அண்ட் இப்போ ரீசெண்டாக வாஸ் தில் பேச்சால் ஒரு சாங் குல்கேஜினான்னு சொல்லிட்டு, அதில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நார்மலாக சாக்கு கா இல்லை சாக்கு தான்ற மாதிரி இல்லாமல் ஒரு டிஃப்ரெண்ட் மெலடி ஒன்று போயிட்டுருக்கோம், லைக் ஆல்மோஸ்ட் லைக் அ ஃபியூட் மாதிரி. இந்த மெலடி மெயின் மெலடி ஒரு டிஃப்ரெண்ட்டாக இருக்கும், அப்புறம் ஹார்மனி வில் பி டிஃப்ரெண்ட், அதுக்கப்புறம் அதுக்கு மேலே பேஸ் வில் பி டிஃப்ரெண்ட். சம்டைம்ஸ் இட் கோஸ் வித் இட், சம்டைம்ஸ் இட் கோஸ் அகேன்ஸ்ட் இட். It's acquired taste, I think.
Right. So what according to you is faith? Faith, it's not about religion, it's also about religion, but faith about everything. Faith in life, faith about the future, faith about the end of COVID, faith in my own talent. Just a word, you can put it anywhere.
I think there's a beautiful quote, I think by Rumi. It said, why is a flute always crying? Like it talks about the nay. And Turkish music, it's always kind of crying, the duduk or nay. And the answer he says, because it's been cut off from the source. It's been cut off from the source and it's alone. So it's waiting for going back to the source. And so one is a permanent going back and the other one is a temporary going back. Temporary going back is when you meditate, when you because you lose yourself, the state of fana and சொல்றாங்க இல்லையா, annihilation. And that's when and music does that. When you go, நீங்க ஒரு தம்பரா போடு ஒரு காந்தாரம் பாடும்போது you're in one with the sublime. And அது வந்து will reflect on your music, in your face and to the audience. எதுக்கு உங்க கான்செப்ட் திருப்பி வராங்கன்னா, because that's what you give. You derive from the technique from a faith, and then you reflect your consciousness. You reflect from an internal thing, and you manifest it through your music. வெறும் கா பாடினாலே போதும், ஒரு சா கா அல்ல ஒரு தம்பரா போட்டு ஒரு காந்தாரம் ஒரு And I keep telling even my son, the ga இருக்கே அதுதான் important இல்ல, அந்த கா
ரொம்ப.
கரெக்டாக டியூனிங்கில் வந்துச்சுன்னா போதும். அண்ட் மெனி சாங்ஸ் ஆக்சுவலி அந்த வெள்ளை பூக்களும் இல்லை தமிழா அதில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அந்த கால இருக்கும், காந்தாடத்துலேயே சுற்றிட்டே இருக்கும். அண்ட் so it does have a magic. It does have a magic of tuning people into that. And
So do you think that faith helps in being simple, in being grounded?
அடுத்த டியூன் வருமானு டவுட்டே இருக்குல்ல. ரொம்ப குச்சிட்டு வரலன்னா நான் உலகமே பார்த்து சிரிக்கும் இல்லையா. ஸோ அதே மாதிரி தான் சிங்கர்ஸ் கூட இல்லையா. அடுத்த ஒரு கச்சேரியில் அவுட் ஆஃப் டியூன் ஆச்சுன்னா என்ன ஆச்சு, அவ்வளோதான் முடிஞ்சது கதை. பிகாஸ் இப்போ வந்து தே நாட் ஜஸ்ட் தட் 1000 people watching, they're recording you.
That's right.
And it's there forever. இந்த மாதிரி ஆகஸ்ட் இல்லை செப்டம்பர் 5th வந்து இந்த பாடினாங்க இல்லை, என்னை பற்றி கூட சொல்கிறேன். And we have seen many extraordinary singers in the West also, when they physically become weak or they go into any vice, then that oscillation and that power which they had, the status of musicality they had, when it's going down, you feel so bad. You feel like, oh my God. And I don't want to say some names, but 6 years back, a major singer died in the West. So she was the ultimate singer for me. But when she was into drugs and everything, and then she died, it was, you had to literally, you curse yourself, like, how can I see this stuff? And a person who had gone to the pinnacle of, you said spiritual singing, was gone to that level where I hope that God protects us from that kind of thing.
So do you think this spiritual aura or this kind of the faith that you spoke about, do you think it's kind of found out? We arrive at it by ourselves, or should there be a guru to guide you?
I think a teacher is definitely a must. If you're lucky, you'll get a teacher. And first you have to seek a teacher, then the teacher will come.
Yes.
The seeking should start within you, and then that touching, I think that comes from God. That comes from your goodness or your parents, their prayers or things like that. Because the void in a human being actually makes that person do good thing or bad thing, mostly bad things. And there's a void. For some people it's depression, some people it's vices to escape that void. That void is one thing which spirituality actually takes it off, And the purpose of existence, the purpose of that thirst of the soul.
Right.
That thirst of the soul is understood, and it helps you to fill that up with some goodness and with light.
You worded it so beautifully. Thirst of the soul. Yes. Tell us about your diverse influences in music. Which music styles did you enjoy listening to? You still listen to them from then to now?
I've been fascinated. I told this before, he had a lot of records which were not just, because he was doing Malayalam music mostly, and he was assisting Arjunan Master, Devarajan Master, and Dakshinamurti Master, and Shalil Chowdhury. So he had a lot of records. Once he passed away, there was this one shelf of all the records. One was a Latin, one was the Beatles, one was a Chinese record, and then there was Jim Reeves, and at that time he was so huge. There's Chicago. All this stuff was there, and for me, I think that palette, because it was my dad's, I listened to that stuff, and then I became interested in, because I think maybe that set the taste up. I listened to, so when I started working and I started traveling, the first thing I would do was to go and listen to world music, African, and some of the music was too raw, like even pygmy music, and Senegal, and some of them is very, very raw. Like even native Congress of Ancient Arts and sort of American slave music, those kind of things. And just to see where how melody is treated, how they express their pain, in what ways, is it in percussion or whether it's in a rag and so I grew up with Carnatic music, of course, because Malayalam music was mostly Carnatic.
Yes.
And I was playing. But the problem for me was when I did music, I said, like, if I do Carnatic, I can't be better than all these people. They're the stalwarts. I played for, I grew up with K.V. Mahadevanji, M.S. Viswanathan, Ilayaraja, Dakshinamurthy. Dakshinamurthy sir, when you used to tune something, you will just be stunned. And then when Jayadas used to sing, every tune used to be good. I don't know how. And even if he just plays something, even if he sings casually, there'll be an aura about him. And you know him, right? He doesn't wear anything. He'll have vibhuti all over. I think I'm going to give you a tape, a recording of him in my house. We were jamming about doing an album together. This is like 10 years back. I can put the clip. Like I'll give you the clip.
Yes.
And he tells a beautiful story in it about the search of knowledge. And so you can watch that.
Sure.
What is the question?
You're known for encouraging and introducing new singers and musicians in the industry. Everybody knows that. And I think the industry's grown so much, horizontally because of you.
No.
Do you always aim?
That's too much of credit. Thank you. Credit. Thank you.
It's about the same thing. Are you always for every project that you do?
My compare, I've learned a lot from looking at other countries. Whether it's production or whether it's the way singers have been, bands came in. Then you realize that in India, the only music we listen to is film music, Carnatic music in All India Radio, and then some folk music in Doordarshan. This is the only thing. But when you go abroad, there are these bands and there is solo artists, there is symphonies, there is opera, there is musical theatre. And there's so many different outlets to show, your talent. So I was thinking, like, if there are so much there, why is it so less here? Because cinema was driving everything. And if cinema is driving all that, then everybody should get chance, because as a producer, music producer, composer, it's my duty to bring in many things and show people these talents. And that also makes me exciting. My role becomes more credible when I bring in new people. When I bring in, so it was a high for me. It was a high, even though I respect SPBG and Chitraji and all of them so much, I felt like by doing this, we only actually lifting their value up, because they are so incredible that then people see around 10, 12 varieties of people doing different things. So when they came in, then we had to compose special for them, because you can't ask a fish to climb a tree, so if they are from the sea, then you tune something for them which is right for them, what they can show their best. And that may be limited, only this much. But that's great. That's the personality. And that's what they're made of. And then they have the right to show their talent, because God has created them differently. And some of them were very, very bad in tuning or pitching, but they had something extraordinary that nobody else would have that. According to their taste or according to how they're brought up, some people might have been in the Middle East, some people might have been in the US, and so they had a certain vibe which of both. How about a Middle Eastern and Tamil flavor? How about a R&B and a Tamil flavor? All these things were interesting. So I said, like, when they come in, again, another problem is they would try to be a Chitraji, or they would try to be that, like, this is what his film music is. No, I said, no, I didn't call you for that. For that, she is there. She's amazing, and you don't have to imitate her. You be yourself, and then you have to remind them that this is what you are. So you show the best of yourself. And I'm there for you. Don't worry. I trust you. We'll make this work together. So that's the whole idea.
So what are the qualities you look for when you have a new voice? Is it the timbre? Is it the freshness? Is it the rawness? Is it a mix of a lot of things?
I'm open. So I think it's everything. Personality.
Yes.
Like a personality, and most of the times I think they do the wrong song. They try to be somebody else than what they are. And then my only job is to just don't be that, be yourself. And then push that personality even more deeper. Can you do this? Can you do that? And I have to be imaginative into pushing them in creating something new. With their help, my song becomes new. So I have a new kind of song. So it's selfishness.
Really, you're always on the search. As you said, use the word thirst. Thirsty for newer voices, newer sound. When we heard your Chinna Chinna Aasai Modalla, Rojala, you just blew my whole. நான் தான் இன்னோவேட் பண்றேன்ற அந்த அகங்காரம் இருந்தது எல்லாத்தையுமே தொலைச்சிட்டேன் நான் அந்த ஒரு பாட்டுல. It's simplicity, yet it's kind of straightforwardness.
I think that song, that's when you believe that there is destiny. There is, I think we have good intentions. The universe comes towards you. Say no. So we didn't know whom to use for that. We were very open, Mani sir and me. We were very open. The main intention was to create something exciting.
Right.
And we had that time, and he was very kind and sympathetic towards me. So I remember we were ready with the song. I said, whom do we use? And I think Arjun Master was there, my father's friend. He said that, this girl can sing track for you. She's come from Cochin. I said, okay, let her sing. And then she was made for the song. And so we looked at each other. So we were supposed to record it, and we were just thinking, okay, this is what we decided. So we should do that. We should record with somebody else. And then next day I said, do we have to record with somebody else? And Mani sir said, no, this is nice. I like it. So, it was born like that. So she had an amazing mix of Janaki ji, Lata Mangeshkar, Asha Bhonsle, all mixed together, very like a magic potion. And so she gave the song the identity. Chinna Chinna Aasai.
எல்லாத்துக்கும் மேல I think that voice had an innocence.
Yeah.
எதை பத்தியுமே கவலைப்படாத ஒரு inhibition இல்லாத voice, I thought.
Very true. And she owned it. I mean, every note was beautiful.
Most of your songs have a certain unpredictability in its course. ஒரு நதி flow பண்றச்சே இப்படிதான் போகும் அப்படின்னு சொல்ல முடியாது. அந்த மாதிரி சில பாட்டுக்கு I feel that you don't even have a fixed pallavi or charanam or a definiteness. இதுதான். So how does that kind of a creativity settle for a song?
I think after a while, music there are a lot of gatekeepers. If you take the West, if an artist comes in, the gatekeeper, like an A&R person, he tells you, no, you should repeat the chorus. You should do this. You should have a big instrumental section here. And there are many people. And even if you take Hollywood, but there'll be from 3-4 musical supervisors, musical editors, constantly trying to satisfy the producer or the director, saying that, see, I did my job. I made him change this. So it's a conflict constantly happening. In my case, I never had that. In my case, I was, I think, blessed with the freedom. Everybody, because of the first movie success, and they were blown away, like you said. They're blown away by, oh my God, this guy's got something else which, whether I had it or not, they believed that I had it. So that helped me a lot to experiment. That helped me a lot to say that nobody would question it. Some people would question, like Shankar would say, no, okay, you 3 pallavi போடலாம், இது கட் பண்ணிக்கலாம், இது எடுக்குது. But he was very specific because he would put so much of energy in a song. Mani sir would leave it sometimes. Sometimes he will say, like, can you bring the hook back? Stuff like that. So there was a sense of trust, and because of the trust, I had to work harder.
How is it working for KB sir in Partale Paravasam?
Duet first. Duet.
Partale Paravasam illa?
Adum mannar.
Adu, yeah.
First duet on the sax. Yeah.
ரெண்டுமே ஒரு ஆனந்த பைரவி வந்தது, அதுல வந்து ஒரு ஹம்சத்வனி வந்தது நினைக்கிறேன். Very, very pure. It was such a startling.
Yeah, I think we all grew up with his aura. Kavitaliya. It's a major influence on Tamil people, especially, and Telugu and even Hindi. Ek duje ke liye, and so KB represented class. KB represented classic. KB represented many things where you look up to standard, right? So first of all, Kavitaliya was producing my first movie. That itself was huge. So appo we were meeting him, and he introduced me to everyone. Remember that whole clip? And he talks about me. Adukapra he said, I want to work with you, and he said, I'm going to do a story about a musician. So I want to use the sax. I want to use Kadari Gopalnath. So let's go for his concert. So I think we went to Vani Mahal somewhere, or Narada Gana Sabha. We were sitting and watching the Carnatic concert. We watched it, and then we started composing. I think we went to Vizag. For me, I was very, very tense because all the music he has got in his movies were huge. M.S. Vishwanathan, Ilayaraja sir. And it was great hits, national award winning scores. So for me, that responsibility was huge. And so that responsibility actually kind of made me work harder into creating these pieces for him. Yeah.
Does your success sometimes overwhelm you or pressurize you? Or do you make a conscious attempt to be detached from it?
I've been detached because you don't know these days when what will flip where. You see all the stuff happening to people. And so your honesty, your conscience, and the way you treat people. Like, you hear all the stuff about the story about how this young man was treating his father, and he would give him like a coconut shell, ala sapada. And the little kid was watching him and said that, Daddy, keep that very carefully. He asked why, because I have to give the same thing to you when you become old. So this is a great lesson, and how we treat other people when we are high, they treat the same way, and whether it's people or your family or anybody. And so definitely this is temporary. At the same time, you can't think that it's temporary. There is a certain responsibility when you're in high, when you have power. You can achieve a great deal in it. I think it's a duality. In one side, you have to say that, I have ownership of this and I can do this. Another side, you can say that it might go away and it's temporary. If you think it's temporary, you don't get the power to do things which you can achieve through that power which you have. So it's both ways. It's a duality existing.
We see that these days the number of songs is gradually coming down in movies, mostly used as montages. So in this scenario, where do you think the future of music is heading? And how should musicians of today equip themselves? Because, this uncertainty that you already spoke about.
Uncertainty is there, but then everything is reinventing itself. You see, I think music is like water. It takes the shape of the container, but, Talking about movies, songs coming down in movies, because the stories are changing. the stories are changing, the world is changing. So when there is the right story for the music, I think directors need to be educated with music. When they know music, they will create much more better musical film. And of course, I think it's again a double-edged sword. When they know too much, they get into technicalities, which is too boring for normal audiences. And I think very few people got this balance. Like when people did musical films, like KB, K. Vishwanath. I'm just talking about classical music movies, And of course, the North Bejubara and Naushad Saab's things. And then Bansali, he does a lot of big things. But I feel like I was researching for almost 6-7 years into doing something, but I'm still waiting for my first movie to release, 90 Days Songs. So then I said, we can't, like my mother's teaching, like don't put all the foot in one thing, be careful. So I think once it releases, we will be bold enough to do some really, really exciting things.
Do you think it's important to be knowledgeable and be trained in classical music, be it Carnatic or Hindustani, to be able to grasp the nuances when you're called to sing in cinema? அது அவசியமா இல்ல அந்த acumen இருந்தா போதுமா அந்த sharp.
Yeah, I think I saw something very interesting yesterday. It's like wisdom should not be gained from just one place. It says the whole world is filled with wisdom and you should gain from everywhere. And that's when you become complete. You become very, pigeonholed. So if you take even Carnatic music or Hindustani or any folk music, you can be trained amazingly well. But then what happens, that training might also prevent you from exploring new things. You become like a musical fundamentalist where you feel like you're not exploring humanly possible, pushing the human expertise to another level. So for me, and of course, if you learn a little bit and you do many things, doesn't mean that you should stop learning. Once you explore everything, come back and then improve your thing, because life is a long journey, right? But if you learn fully, that prevents you from exploring other things. For instance, Ragamalika irukku Karnaticla, you go on a raga, come back another raga, and they're amazingly well. And the plain panama, we also need to get the essence of the raga. பாரு மேலே போகும்போது வேறு ராகம், அதில் வந்து சாட்டிஸ்ஃபேக்ஷன் இருக்கான். லைக் ஈவன் யூ டேக் எனி காம்ப்ளிகேட்டட் ராகா, there should be a satisfaction in the singing, in the way the notes are intertwined, the way you sustain those notes, the way you pronounce it. There's so many different rules for the heart. You can also say, no, I've done it, but then it might not be impressive. Like I've tried many other ragas, and sometimes I feel like I wouldn't feel like giving, because I'm not as good as Rajaratnam Pillai in Thodi. Rajaratnam Pillai Thodi vasha ellarum apdiye konduruvaanga. Namba vaasikumbodhu nammuluke bore adikra mari irukum. So I mean, say nambavana naan. So I keep exploring. I try to tune in other thing, but I think age is also a factor. I've seen musicians who play only 2 ragas all their life. Yaman or Bhairavi, avladhaan. Adukku mela pada maataanga. Idu podum. இது முதல் இந்த லைஃப்ல இந்த ரெண்டு ராகத்தில் ஒழுங்கா நான் பண்ணா போதுன்ற மாதிரி, there are people like that. இல்ல? And I was like how do you do that? And then we were like all over the place. இது பண்ணலாம், அது பண்ணலாம். But then they were like, then I met Bahauddin Saab. He plays the Rudraveena. Like I did the show in the show.
Yes.
So he said, this raga took me 4 years.
What?
Yeah, I mean, and that's such as the slowest thing which is playing, but then I saw him and I've learned so much from that dedication. It's like a penance. Like I will do this raga, I'll get it right, and then I'll play it in a concert. The mari பேசும்போது நம்மளுக்கு ஐயோ
இல்ல பயமா இருக்குது. அந்த மாதிரி you can't be jailed up or caged up in one raga.
True, but then yeah, exactly. But then he has a point, because there is something magical coming out of us when he's playing, that it speaks for itself. Like avlo penance panni, somebody is doing something, there is something in it. So we have to respect that stuff.
So what did the Oscars mean to you? எல்லாரும் கேக்குற கேள்விதான். ஆனாலும் ஒவ்வொரு தடவை இந்த கேள்வி கேக்குறச்சே உங்களுக்கு வேற ஒரு பரிமாணம் தெரியும்னு நினைக்கிறேன்.
ஆஸ்கர் எப்போ வந்தது எனக்கு? எல்லாம் மறந்து போச்சு.
திருப்பி வர டைம் ஆச்சுன்னு நினைக்கிறேன்.
இல்ல அதுதான். I think that's the state of mind. I think it is a great honor, and I felt like in the world of racism, the world of people putting down other people or divisive things, definitely when I look at it, it's a great achievement. Like something was right, something I did right, something everything collided. There was a blessing, and Russell Pukati, me, and the whole team got the Oscar. Now it is definitely a divine blessing. But now I can't. தலைமையில் வச்சுட்டு ஆடினாலும் வரும். வேறு நல்ல பாட்டு பாடணும்னு தூக்கி போடுவோம் ஆஸ்கர். So that's important to, you have it. It has gained you respect. It has given you respect, and through that you have a name. So that is the reality, and that's what we all strive. Like what is the next interesting idea? How do you make it good? How do you use more people? How do you collaborate better?
நீங்க அந்த ரெட் கார்பெட்ல நடக்கிறச்சு எங்களுக்கு மெய் செலுத்துது. அந்த பெருமை, அந்த ஒரு ownership, as if all of us had got it.
I think my wife was the most excited. She's still excited about it. And because I kept telling the Indian allan tharamaataya summa nee don't just give me all this, because she kept saying you should get an Oscar, like 10 years. And when it happened, I say, I told you no. And so she's even now, she's proud. My family is proud. My sisters are proud. My mother is proud. But for me, I think it's done. I'm a member of the Oscar thing. I watch all the new movies through the app. I vote for it.
Right.
That's a cool thing. I don't have to buy movies anymore.
You worked across regional, global music industries. What are the best and most inspiring, unique features that you have kind of absorbed or noticed in each of them? For example, Southern industry, Hindi, Bollywood, Hollywood, எல்லாத்துலயும் நீங்க வந்து ஒரு அந்த இசையை வந்து ஒரு வேற ஒரு லெவலுக்கு எடுத்துன்னு போயிட்டு. And how did you kind of take what they had and brought it into your own music and give it?
For instance, meeting Andrew Lloyd Webber, and him, even now he says you're one of the most best melody makers and all the stuff. It made me feel like very touched. It made me feel like, oh my God, this is such a gift. Everybody, the whole world wants to work with Andrew Lloyd Webber. He's the master of theatre, and he let me compose one of his productions for the first time, first and last. And so that's when I think I decided that this beauty, what we see in London or Broadway, should happen in India. And for that, we should set up a school, and we should develop, because we have 1.3 billion people. And imagine if we train all these people, they become extraordinary, citizens, shaping our country's future music. And that's what led me to the KM Music Conservatory and AR Rahman Foundation, Sunshine Orchestra. And that is becoming a reality slowly. Now we are starting in Nagaland also. Nagaland is also a very beautiful place, very inspiring. I was very moved by their love. They came all the way from Nagaland to make the sunshine, to spread sunshine there also, So there's an app, I think, on Instagram, you can see what Sunshine is doing. So that is one thing I learned. The other thing I learned was how people... No, I didn't learn much. This is the only thing I learned.
99 songs. It marks your debut as a co-writer and film producer. So this is hearsay, I don't know if it's true, but we hear that there were over 1,000 auditions done for roles until you arrived at the right one. What was so special about the characters that you try to convey a particular message through?
Um, so because as I told you earlier, or as you asked me, like you were in both the places, Hollywood and in India. So there is a certain method they use, like to cast someone. And I felt like there's an opportunity to try somebody who can, from ground up, train them into music, and then use them in the movie, send him for training to Hollywood. Then he was trained in my conservatory. Ihan was the lead actor, and he was trained for 1 year on piano. And we didn't train him for the voice, unfortunately, it was too much. We had to start the movie. And Tenzin, who was also the drummer in the movie, the second lead, he also got trained. And hoping that, it will set a trend and we'll have people who are ready and more true in their roles. And the whole idea of me starting a production was to start musical music. As you said, why is music becoming less? Why are the songs not being picturized? Because then you need a script for that. You can't, because everybody is doing, every movie doesn't require, people going to Switzerland or, go away on a dream. And the implementation of how song is being used in the movie, that needs to change. Some people do it very well and it becomes natural. But then there's also a commercial thing in it. So when a movie releases, they want a song to become a hit so that through that song, they want people to come into the theater. So there are commercial implications on that also. So that is a good thing or bad thing, I don't know, but it's challenging for a composer. Especially in Hindi, a lot. And at least we still do melodies. I think abroad, even the score melodies are dying down. Like if you take Nina Rota or the Lawrence of Arabia or, Maurice Jarre's score, John Williams, you remember every theme. Now the theme has become a chord progression. Or theme has become like an ostinato where there are repeated 4 notes going on.
Yeah.
And very rarely you find, because I think some vibration of, even though they use classical music a lot, the newer lot is not being encouraged to compose anything melodic, unfortunately, because they use these stem tracks for a movie. For a big movie, they use Hans Zimmer score or something. And then they cut to that score. So when they cut to the score, whatever you do won't match because they've cut to that score, that crescendo, and everything which that score has been done, but it's been used already. So now you take that out and you literally copy that. You just change the chords, the graph and everything is, because then the director will say, no, the music is not good. Because they've cut to something else, right? So it is trying to fit a person with the dress and fit out on a Murray. So I think creativity has gone down in a way. And for that, I think, again, there needs to be another revolution where people get inspired by present day's composer, use that as a temp score and use that same composer to compose, maybe. Because editors use these temporary music, it's called temp music, and they cut. And this is something which is unsaid in the industry. People don't know about it. But in India, I think we still love theme music. How people celebrate, theme music. It's a good thing. It's still not yet spoiled, but it'll get spoiled soon.
Something close to your heart now. Your children are budding musicians. Do they ever feel the weight of the expectations of the legacy they have to carry forward? And how do you help them and support them as a father and their music mentor?
I think I've been a little late in this leading them, because my life has been travel for the first 20 years. From Roja was, because I was just me, Shiv Kumar and Sridhar. We only 3 of us. We worked for 10 years together like that. Then I started traveling to England. Then I went to the US. Then past 6-7 years is when I realized, okay, I needed to spend more time with them. For them to, nobody can teach, it'll never get into their heads as much as what you do to your kids. That's one thing which I learned. You can keep the best teacher and they will dodge them and go off. But then when you sit and do it, yeah, especially my son. Only when I sit, he learns. And he learns quick when I sit. You give him the best teacher, he's dodged. And I think because of this intimidation, he said like he was studying in KM in my college, our college. And he said, when I get up, like the whole class is looking at me, Daddy. So how can I be myself? I feel like everybody's watching me. They all look at me. I can't say don't look at me because that's the kind of pressure. Then I really understood what. He's coming now. Slowly he's learning. He's just sung a song in Dil Bechara, the end credit song. Khadija she left music. I think, again, same problem. She did that Pudhiya Manida, that song in Robot.
Yes.
So everybody had that as a ringtone. And she got afraid, look. Then her mother kept insisting her. And then she said she started singing, practicing again from last year. So I think she's released a song with Ricky Cage now. Yesterday, I think it released.
Okay. So we wish them all the very best. The next
one more. There's Rahima also.
Sorry?
There's the middle one, Rahima. She is also learning.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah,
okay.
I got 3 kids.
So what is the middle one?
Rahima's she also wants to sing and she plays a little bit of, all the gear stuff.
So you're happy that all 3 are inclined towards music?
Yes, I think it's a long journey. I think they've begun now, which is great. And there's never too late for anything. For music alone, it's never too late. It's just the consistency and how deep you dwell in it, which matters.
This is a question that probably you will find it difficult to answer because I'm going to ask of all the compositions that you have
which one is your
favorite? Heart into, which one was no which one is the best career, which is closest to your heart career? Which one was the most challenging? You thought you had finished it but you kept on improvising on it.
Everything, actually. Some of them fall into place. If you take the 90s, I think Veerapandi was...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it was complex because we were building section by section by section and we were having fun. Then there is... in every movie, there'll be one. There'll be one song which will take time. It might be sometimes the simplest one. But because of the pressure, the pressure and people's expectation, you kind of keep going on. And it's a teamwork, right? Sometimes the tune might be good, the lyric might have to rise up to that. Sometimes the lyric might be very good, the tune might not be as good or as catchy as that.
I mean, you have to make each one exclusively good, exclusively beautiful. So nothing should be compared with the other.
Everything needs its own love. You know that, in the part then you start working on it. Because I do less movies. So it's worth those days people used to do 30 movies. I don't know how they did it. It was like a factory. 30, 40 movies or a composer used to do. Yeah.
So we are done with the long questions. Now these are the shorter ones where you can be as brief as possible. What's a belief that you hold on to, which people may or may not agree to?
It's not a short answer. The people don't care about anything else. As long as you're successful, they don't care.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Besides your music, which are the other activities that you immerse yourself in, that you lose track of time?
I'm very intrigued by cinematography, filmmaking, because we started a movie company. So past 10 years have been interesting, going and also having the Oscar card. So I can go to any workshop. Even now, you can watch things from Hollywood. And it's interesting. So it helps music also. The way directors understand filmmaking and music helps you to try new things in music. So, and I'm very intrigued by that. And then now game engines have come in, like PlayStation and all those things, how they have become so big. And of course, I'm directing a movie in virtual reality, which is just about to finish. It also has smell, it has haptics, it has 3D vision. So that's very fascinating. So, இதுவே போடும் time.
Time போறாது உங்களுக்கு. And is it time to stop calculating risk and rewards and just do what you think is right?
That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm trying to do. I think because not taking risks is the biggest risk in சொல்றாங்க இல்லையா? Like அதுக்கு ஒரு வீடு வாங்கி போட்டு வீட்டு வாடகைல சாப்பிட்டுட்டு இருக்கலாம்ல அது மாதிரி முதல்ல that's what people used to tell me. You're earning so much, you should not buy all this equipment. You should just buy a shopping mall or something. And அப்படியே வாடகை வரும் வீட்டில் உட்காந்து சாப்பிடலாம் வயசான போது என்ன பண்ண போறீங்க these they were with good intention they would say, but then you are dead if you don't think. And
what smile? What makes you smile? You're smiling now. அதை நினைச்சிட்டு ஸ்மைல் பண்றீங்க.
I smile always because I think people say that when I smile I look good.
இல்ல நீங்க ஸ்மைல் பண்றச்சே you're all.
That's good.
That's my
exactly same thing.
What taught you very recently with the COVID?
There is a God. That whatever there is always something which you never thought of can happen in reality, in life. And so,
have you ever regretted something that you did not say or do?
In what? In these times?
No, generally. I mean, ஐயோ அது வந்து 30 வயசுல பண்ணிருக்கணும் நான் பண்ணலையே.
அது மாதிரி ஒண்ணுமே இல்ல. I think I'm very grateful for everything God has. I've got much more than I deserve.
What's your favorite vacation spot?
LA.
And we are done.
You're done? Okay. Thank you so much, and such a great honor that you spent time in asking me these questions. And we should work together, God willing, sometime.
Definitely, yeah. I'm looking forward. As you said, this itself, I sent the wish to the universe, and I said, if it has to happen, he will be on this show. And I'm so happy. I can't tell you I'm going to sleep like 24 hours because that's the amount of happiness I have that you've been able to come. I mean, I understand your preoccupation, your previous commitments, all of that. But so gracious of you to have found the time to be here in this session and this power-packed 1 hour that you have given us. I think you stole all our hearts with your humility.
Thank you. You're very kind.
Simplicity. Honestly, we wish you the very best for everything in the future. Silent, yet so powerful. Mellifluous, yet so impacting. That is AR for you. His actions speak louder than his words. I had been so fastidious and persevering in following up to get this wonderful human being aboard on Expressions Espresso. What a beautiful finale to our 25th session. The universe made it possible. And on this mode, this is a curtain call for season 3 that takes a break. Expressions Espresso will be on vacation for a month and come back to you in full form the next month. With more surprises, more thought-provoking sessions, more fun, and more happiness. Thank you, dear viewers. I am overwhelmed at the support you have given for this new venture of mine. I began rather diffidently when I embarked on the first session on 19th April 2020. If I had not seen the viewership growing, honestly, I would have stopped with season 1. But your affection, your appreciation, your encouragement, your feedback, and the zillion posts that came by on Facebook and YouTube have left me truly overwhelmed and motivated to continue this, to take it forward. And here we are 25 weeks later with the same enthusiasm and the same high on energy moments. Thank you very much. Keep the feedback flowing, so also your love and affection. We will meet again soon and continue from where we have left. Until then, I take leave after being with you week after week for 25 weeks with some outstanding celebrities and personalities. I'm sure we all have picked up some good nuggets in this journey and learned a lot of life's lessons. Let us carry those happy memories with us and meet up soon. Until then, stay safe and take care. Adios. Marubadiyum Sandipo. Namaskara.